Hello, Spencer County High School, and thank you for joining us on the first episode of the Coaches Show. My name is Blaine Prim, and joining us today is the head coach for our football team, Coach Marksberry. Coach, how are you doing?
Doing great. Happy to be with you.
Today's episode is going to be about last Saturday's win versus Bullitt Central, 35-15, for the first game of the season. The first thing I wanted to ask you was how important it was that you guys started the season off strong and with a win.
Yeah, it's always good to get off to a good start. Last year we played in the same bowl game and played a really good Hart County team. And Bullitt Central was much improved from the team that they had last year. So it's always good to put in the work in the off season and go out and get the season started off right.
Absolutely. And what would you say put you guys over the edge in this one?
Well, offensively, I thought we were very efficient, and it's kind of like a workman-like performance. We kind of felt like we were in control of the game and didn't do anything to we didn't turn the ball over. And then on defense, we were sound. We did have some problems where kind of got out of our lanes and let the quarterback scramble a little bit too much. But for the most part, special teams were solid. So, it's just a solid game. It was just a good game for us to get it in the books, find out what we need to work on and improve on, and then we'll move and then make those adjustments and get ready for a big game against Collins.
Yeah, and what was the game plan coming in, and how didn't you execute it?
Well, playing the first game of the year, sometimes it's tough because we're very dependent upon film. Mm-hmm. And basically the only thing we had to base it on was scrimmage. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you don't know when a team's in a scrimmage. Are they showing you everything? Or are they actually trying, are they just, what are they actually trying to accomplish in the scrimmage? So our game plan was just to be us and be sound. And we knew how they were going to line up, both offensively and defensively. And, we just wanted to try to eliminate the mistakes. And we did have quite a few holding penalties and everything like that kind of set us back a little bit. But, overall, we were happy. And there are definitely some things that we can improve on. And we expect to have, see some improvement this week.
Yeah, and first game of the season could be some unexpected problems. So what adjustments did you have to make during the game?
Well, the biggest obstacle we had to overcome, of course, Bullitt Central was a very formidable opponent, but the heat. Mm-hmm. The heat was definitely an issue. It was extremely hot.
Yeah.
And I thought our kids handled it pretty mm-hmm. well. It was the emotion of the first game, the heat and everything like that. And, it was just, it kind of stressed our kids out a little bit more mentally and physically because it was just 5:30 in the afternoon and everything like that. It was tough. So that was probably the one thing that really caused us an issue that that really put a lot of stress on us as a team. But we play a lot of kids. They play one side of the ball, so that helps us out a lot.
Yeah, and speaking of problems, did you have any problems with, your current roster, depth that you had to move around?
No, I mean, we were fine. We were fine. The only issues that we had was we've, just like a lot of teams right now, we've had some injuries. We've had some illnesses. We've had some kids miss practices with illnesses. And, so that was just one of those things that, on the offensive line we had 3 spots where the projected starter was not there. Mm-hmm. So but it was awesome that those kids were able to step in, execute our system, and be very successful on the offensive side.
Yeah, and what's something positive or negative you can take from your team's performance and take it into the next game?
Well, the most positive thing was we were going in and having the players that were missing on the offensive line, mm-hmm. and we were still able to run our offense. I think that speaks volumes of our kids that come through our system and everything like that. Of course, we've had some kids make some plays. Armin Smalley's probably been one of the biggest surprises in the summer and the early practices. He made some plays, and Jake, and we had Brody Phelps is our middle linebacker, and he kind of gets the defense. And I thought Jarrett has been very composed at quarterback and everything like that. So there was a lot of positives. We have we have a great group of kids, and they all pull for each other, and it's a good locker room, and it's how you become successful.
Yeah, and just to wrap toward the end of the discussion on the game, do you have any more thoughts on the game as a whole? Or
Well, you're glad it's over. You're
Yeah.
glad we got through it, and we didn't have any other injuries in that game. We came out of it, pretty healthy, and it's just it's one of those things you get in. It's good to get the season off to a good start. Playing in a bowl game's a little bit different. I'm not a big fan of playing on Saturdays, but it's one of those things. When you get invited to play in those things, it's something you consider. Me personally, I'll just assume play on Friday nights. But we got through it. We'll make some adjustments. We'll have good practices this week and be ready to roll against Collins.
Yeah, just to end things, just a couple of questions regarding just this year's team as a whole. How does this team differ from last year's?
The most significant thing is our depth at our skill positions. Last year we were a little bit, just didn't have the depth there, so we were having to kind of move some people around. But right this year we have some on the defensive line. We have a bunch of seniors. On the offensive line we have some seniors, but our skill guys we're extremely deep. We have, and I think you saw that last week. We had 6 or 7 kids carry the ball, and but that doesn't happen without our offensive line, and our linebackers don't make plays without our defensive line. Our secondary doesn't cover without our defensive line getting pressure, and we got 2 defensive linemen sitting here while I'm doing this podcast, so they're sitting over there, really enjoying this. But anyway, it's just one of those. The depth of our skill position is probably the biggest difference from last year.
Yeah, and for our final question, just as the head coach, what's your overall expectations on the season going forward?
Well, we feel like we are a program that has established ourselves, and when you look at Class 4A, you have the Boyle counties, the Paducah Tillmans, Covington Catholics, Franklin counties, Corbins. There's a group of teams, 5 or 6 teams that are at the top that are some of the better teams in the state. Now then, we feel like we're striving to close that gap on those programs. And the way we kind of view it is we feel like that our program, is of the ones that are just outside those top 5 or 6, we feel like our program should be viewed as one of those programs. I mean, look, the programs that I just mentioned, they're historic. They've been around forever. Franklin County's in our district. But we feel like our program, we've done enough to garner the respect around the state as being one of the better programs in the area and in our classification, and I think we are. I mean, we do it the right way. We bring kids in, we develop them, they work hard, and they put the time in, and it's just one of those things. 4A is very tough, though.
Yeah.
It's extremely tough. It's a tough class, and but hey, we'll try to get better every week and see where we end up at the end of the year.
All right, well, thank you, Coach. That concludes our first episode of The Coaches Show. Thank you so much for joining us on the Digital Gen. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss an episode of The Coaches Show.